Hello and welcome to Levant TV Headlines. More than 20 international aid organizations have criticized the UN Security Council for its failure to implement 3 resolutions passed last year to increase humanitarian aid to Syria. Iraqi commanders say that time was on their side as government forces tightened their siege of Tikrit and warned they would not be rushed into a final assault. Israeli authorities have allowed the import of Gaza produce for the first time since Hamas seized control of the territory in 2007, a move that will aid Gaza's battered economy. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has conceded that the centre-left opposition could win next week's general election and appealed to voters not to take the chance with national security. And top European Union law enforcement officials are expected to agree on a quick fix to make it tougher for terrorism suspects to travel abroad or return home unimpeded. Now let's take a look at the top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. Starting with the Egypt Independent, which leads reporting that the Antiquities Ministry, in collaboration with the American Research Center mission, has unearthed a new pharaonic tomb at the Al-Qurna archaeological site in the Luxor Governorate. The paper also reports that the National Council for Childhood and Motherhood has announced that children were most abused in Egypt at schools and on the street in February. From Lebanon, the Daily Star leads, reporting that French Defense Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian will visit Lebanon in mid-April to see the arrival of the first batch of French weapons to be delivered to the Lebanese army as part of a $3 billion Saudi-funded arms deal. The paper also reports that Lebanese security forces have rounded up several suspects believed to be involved in human trafficking, days after a migrant boat capsized off Italy's coast with 8 residents of the Palestinian refugee camp of Ain al-Hilwa on board. From the UAE, the Khalij Times leads, reporting that Iraqi security forces and militias have fought their way into Saddam Hussein's home city of Tikrit, advancing from the north and south in their biggest counter-offensive so far against Daesh militants. The paper also reports that an alleged acid attack on a 3-year-old Emirati boy by a maid has cost him his sight in one eye and left him with 3rd-degree burns. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines from the UK papers. The Telegraph leads its Middle East news, reporting that research published to mark the 4th anniversary of the Syrian uprising has shown the amount of light being released over the country has shrunk by 83%. Satellite imagery taken at night was used to chart the progress of the war by researchers at Wuhan University in China, showing that the glow from major population centers like Aleppo and Homs gradually dim. The Independent leads its Middle East news, reporting that ISIS is allegedly attacking Iraqi soldiers with roadside bombs containing chlorine gas as Allied forces continue a huge assault against the group in Tikrit. Footage captured by an Iraqi bomb disposal team shows plumes of thick orange gas emerging from a detonated roadside bomb. The Guardian leads its Middle East news, reporting that Ayman Odeh, the leader of the new United Front of Israel's Arab parties, standing together for the first time in an unprecedented alliance, has vowed his overriding priority in next Tuesday's elections will be to ensure the removal of the country's right-wing Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines in the international papers. From Germany, the Deutsche Welle reports that 4 years since the start of the Syrian civil war, a group of aid organizations has called on the United Nations to commit itself to ending the conflict. A study compiled by 21 various NGOs condemns the insufficient distribution of relief aid to those who most need it in and around Syria. And finally, the International New York Times reports that President Obama's formal request for congressional authorization to fight the Islamic State is now seriously imperiled because Republicans think it does too little and Democrats think it does too much. Despite urging Congress to pass the authorization for military action, John Kerry, Ashton Carter, and Martin Dempsey all made clear that they believed the administration already had the legal authority to pursue its military campaign against the Islamic State under 2 previous authorizations. And for more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Bye for now.